This is a presentation on the biography of William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was born approximately on April 23, 1564, in Stratford, England. It is said that the exact date of his birth is unknown. He was born to John Shakespeare and Mary Arden. No personal documents survived from Shakespeare's school years. Thus, very little is known about his childhood. At age 18, he married Anne Hathaway. Together, they had 3 children, Susanna, Hamnet, and Judith. Hamnet and Judith were twins. There is no information on Shakespeare's whereabouts during the years 1585 and 1592. This would lead to future speculation on whether Shakespeare really wrote his famous plays and poems himself, without having spent years in an apprenticeship to gain the necessary writing skills. Despite this future speculation, history says he went on to begin his career of being a playwright, beginning with the Comedy of Errors in 1590. The Comedy of Errors was one of his first 3 comedies, the others being The Two Gentlemen of Verona in 1591 and Love's Labour's Lost in 1593. Henry VI and Richard III are his first plays in the history genre during this time. Shakespeare's first tragedy was Titus Andronicus. Around 1593 to 1594, the theaters closed down due to the plague. It is believed that during this time, Shakespeare wrote his most famous poems, 154 sonnets. A sonnet is a poem of 14 lines using any of a number of formal rhyme schemes in English, typically having 10 syllables per line. By 1954, Shakespeare was completely involved with his career. There were 2 leading companies of actors at that time, one being Lord Chamberlain's Men. William Shakespeare became the main writer for this company as well as an actor for it. In 1599, the Globe Theatre was built. King James I bestowed his patronage over Lord Chamberlain's Men. This meant the flag of the King's Men now flew over the globe. Among the plays he wrote during this time were Macbeth, Antony and Cleopatra, Coriolanus, Timon of Athens, Pericles, Cymbeline, The Winter's Tale, and The Tempest. Here we have a list of Shakespeare's recorded plays. Shakespeare composed The Tempest in 1611 and then proceeded to retire to Stratford. There, he died at the age of 52 in 1616. In 1623, 2 of his fellow actors gathered and published his plays. It was due to their efforts the plays of William Shakespeare were able to endure time.
blue ribbon here marks his grave, and the lighter stone there is his gravestone. And you can see the inscription there, which is very interesting because there's a warning on it. So it says, "Good friend, for Jesus' sake, forbear to dig the dust enclosed here." In other words, don't dig in this grave, leave me where I am. And then there's a blessing and a curse. So it says, "Blessed be the man that spares these stones." In other words, if you leave this stone where it is, you'll be blessed. "Cursed be he that moves my bones." So he was really concerned that no one would mess with his remains in the ground.
So he was aware of his fame to the extent that he would have a warning on his stone.
Yes, he knew people would be interested. And his memorial on the wall there was put in by his wife just a few years after he was buried. And it's thought that that's a good likeness because, of course, the people that installed that knew him, so they would have only accepted it if it was a good likeness. So it's thought that that bust is a good likeness of him. And the reason why he didn't want his bones to be moved is the answer's through that door. That door at the moment goes straight out into the churchyard, but in Shakespeare's time there was an extension, a building on the side of the church called the charnel house, and that's where they put the old bones that they dug up in the churchyard. So when the churchyard was full and they needed to make space, they put the remains in this charnel house.
Just a house full of old bones?
Just basically a room full of old bones. And of course, he knew he was going to be buried here, and he thought, that's a bit close to that door. I don't want them to come along and think, oh, we'll shift him out the way and put his bones with all the others. So that's why we think he put that warning on his grave.
The inscription on Shakespeare's grave read as follows: "Good friend, for Jesus' sake, forbear to dig the dust enclosed here. Blessed be the man that spares these stones, and cursed be he that moves my bones." Do you feel there is sufficient evidence to support the theories of Shakespeare being the true writer of his famous plays? Why do you feel that Shakespeare's plays had so much impact far after his time? How many times have you observed Shakespeare influence your modern life? For example, have you ever heard the phrase, "wear my heart upon my sleeve"?